Coming to you from 6,224 feet in Castle Rock, Colorado.
This is Inside Castle Rock.
I'm Chris Tuchillo, hospitality trainer, leadership and presentation coach, and a local resident the past 2 years.
I'm Brian Cowdrey, a professional real estate agent, and I've lived in town for over a decade.
Check out our latest episode as we welcome you inside Castle Rock. Welcome to another episode of Inside Castle Rock. This is episode 6, and Brian and I are so excited. We made it halfway through the year. No one's gotten hurt.
That's right.
No one's gotten hurt.
And they say most podcasts never make it past episode 5.
They typically do because you run out of content.
I just made that up, actually. But it feels like it wouldn't.
More importantly, you run out of ideas.
You do,
and
totally.
We have a giant list of ideas.
Too many ideas.
We're so excited today to be coming to you, not just with amazing artists, Rinn and Abby Roemer, and getting to know them and their art, but we're also coming to you from their home, which is like visiting an art gallery.
I was going to say, we're basically in a museum right now.
And, a lot of the episodes that Brian and I record, we just sort of show up the day of, pick a spot and record. I actually had a chance to come out and visit with our 2 artist friends. Welcome, by the way. We're so glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
And we had a chance to come out and kind of walk through the space. And so our hope is we're going to go through the main part of the episode, but take a look at some of the intro stuff and the outros that we do, because we're going to try to capture some of the different areas. There's a place called the epoxy room. I'll let you figure out what that is, but it was exciting for me to experience it.
And what it is.
And what it is. So we're going to do a little bit of that as we kind of go through and get to know Matt and Abby a little bit. But it's so great to have you both on the show.
It's great to be on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So we wanted to start off and get to know a little bit about you and your stories that have nothing to do with what you do now as people or artists, but just kind of like where you're from, where all you're about, and what brought you here to Castle Rock. So should we ladies first?
Yes.
Actually, let him go first.
You let him go first? Oh, I like that.
We'll do Matt's first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up on the East Coast. My father was in the Navy. He was a naval officer.
Oh,
so I lived the life of movement. I was born in Bangkok, Thailand, then Canada, then Rhode Island, South Carolina, Virginia, North Carolina. Once I got done with college at James Madison in the Shenandoah Valley, I moved to Colorado as soon as I could. So I came out here because I'm a huge board sport guy, surfing.
Have you been to Colorado before?
I came out during like spring breaks when everybody would go to Cancun
beaches,
or whatever it would be. I would be coming to Colorado to snowboard.
See, that's what I would rather do too. Yeah. I'd like the mountains so much better.
So my outdoor love of riding boards and mountain biking and whitewater kayaking brought me this direction. Anticipation of moving to California. Didn't quite make it there.
Halfway.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
Good effort. You put a really good effort in.
But I ended up raising my family here, my 2 children.
Nice.
And that's what brought me to Castle Rock, having just more a safer environment for them and more of a town feel.
Nice. Cool.
So that's what brought me down to this environment. And I became a professional artist about 8 years now. What I mean by that is that I do this full time and support myself doing this. And I would say to not carry on too long. I love designing and building furniture. And I got that from just my background of being a skateboarder growing up, building ramps.
Oh, yeah.
And having that understanding of how to build the structure and then complete it. And it just coincided with building rocking chairs and other types of furniture. And then I just progressed from there into building tables.
I love it.
And other wild things. Certainly something that I get an idea and it's strange. I just have the ability to create and make things when people,
it's kind of like have a knack for it.
It's actually quite strange. but I do like it. I mean,
As somebody that draws stick figures, I find it really strange.
Yeah.
I love it. There's two words that I think of when I think of your art. I think of scale and I think of texture, because your art has a lot of texture to it and it has like huge variations in the different scales. Some of the pieces I've seen at some of the installs you've done, and also when I was here at your house a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
What I love about that is I'm colorblind. And so colors don't pop
Yeah,
the same way to
right.
me that they do for other people. Although I'm not, people ask me like, oh, you can't see any color? And I'm like, yeah, it's just a gray world. No, I'm red, green colorblind. So it just seems differently.
Yeah.
But what I love is my wife has always said, textures really intrigue me.
Mm.
And so even some of the pieces you can't see with the camera, we'll get some shots, but like some of the pieces up on the wall right here, there's so much variation in texture. And it's always made me just think your work is so unique in that regard.
Totally.
yeah, and I think I get that from my surfing background, being out in the ocean, floating, and just we have a lot of adjectives to describe waves: glassy waves, choppy, and just to see that movement and how it's constantly changing. So I do like to create a lot of illusion in my work, whether it is painting or wood carving. So if you look at it one direction and you come and look at it from a different direction, it could be completely different. And then the way the light casts shadows onto it, so it it can play tricks on you.
I bet.
And
Yeah.
it just makes it ever changing. And you'll see with Abby's work, she's really good at manipulating light with the way she uses her colors too. So it's one of the reasons.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like a kind of an intentionality behind of like trying to really make it more than one dimensional.
Mhm.
It's exactly what you said. And like getting it from different views and light and things like that. That's awesome.
Abby uses so much color in her art. There's
She
also
does.
so much texture, which I love. But there's also so much texture. And I think it's why, like, I've been to, you and Jen were both at a artist pop-up at Cough 33 a couple of months ago.
Right.
And like when you walked in, your art just jumps out of that coffee shop because there's so much color, but there's also so much texture. And you use colors that I can see really easily.
Oh, good.
There's other colors I look at.
She actually really does everything with you.
So I'm Chrissy.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, you'll be able
So
to get
the Rothko Chapel in Houston, right?
Yeah.
Rothko does these like giant pieces, and they're usually like black or some sort of variation of gray. Jen took me to see them, and I was like, what is this crap? Because for me, it was so boring. And she's like, can't you see the depth in the color? And I'm like, no, he painted that black. He charged him a lot of money for it. Like, I just don't get it. Artists that use bold colors and textures, like, it just draws me in.
Yeah,
Makes
just
sense.
draws me
That
in.
makes sense.
I love it.
So what about you? Where did your journey begin before you got to Castle Rock?
I was born in Ohio and grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, and ended up going to Ohio University in Athens. And it was in finishing up there, I did the interior architecture program or interior design in the end. I got an internship in Denver because my cousin lived out here, thankfully.
Neat.
And so I did that just a year prior to graduating. And so I got a job through that out here upon graduating. And so it got me out here. And honestly, shout out to Studio Art Design and Rinn Augustine. That was such a big, moment for me to be able to get out here and give that a go. Even though in the end it wasn't what was meant for me to do interior design.
Yeah.
I did know from that 6 weeks initial kind of internship with her that I wanted to be out here. And so it got me here. And that's awesome. The rest is history. So I lived in Denver for 12-ish, 13 years and ended up getting in the restaurant industry as I just kind of supporting me on my who am I? What's my purpose journey, which I've had since I was like 5 years old.
I'm impressed. My daughter doesn't want to know those things. That's great.
Yeah. So I'm still, I know a lot of ways I'm still on it, but that said, it supported the lifestyle that like fulfilled me, balancing with the outdoors and the sports, snowboarding and the mountain biking, and got into rock climbing eventually. But even in the industry, I was still hitting that wall. Like, I only want to take it this far. I don't see myself being a restaurateur or wanting to open a restaurant. And I don't like drinking that much.
Gotcha.
I was like, oh, I'd love to be a sommelier, but I gotta want to drink wine. And I just don't.
That's
so that I just, it's like, okay, this isn't quite it. And art has always been there from early on. And my high school art teacher was very, and is still very influential to me. But I just, always thought, and it can be true, that you have to be an artist and I have
it's like a side thing.
Right.
You really do it on the side, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I have stage fright issues and things. So I was like, well, I don't see myself teaching. And those were more of the examples I had in my life were teachers, artists, teachers, and getting that messaging that all these artists that had passed before they were recognized and valued. So I just think that messaging really messed with me early on. So I avoided it, but I took all the fine art classes in college, minored in it. Those were my favorite classes, but I still avoided it and chose a more practical design.
Right. With the interior design stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how I ended up out here. And it was only the last 3 years. In 2022, COVID actually really opened up a lot of time for me to paint. And I realized that is what I did with the time. And I was really not lonely in that time. I just enjoyed creating and seeing what was, what was coming through. And I was honestly kind of surprising myself because I hadn't been consistently creating. It was only when I had that spark of inspiration and the time to make some things. So I really, once I got back into the fuller swing of working again, I just kept thinking about, well, what if I could show up to creating art on a regular basis? Would I? And would I get tired of it? Would I, and also working on my mind about do I believe it's even possible to make a living? And so
that is a big mind shift. Really, for sure, yeah. Because you got to get rid of all the lies that you've been told.
Right.
Yeah.
And just telling, the belief in myself and valuing it myself. And so that said, I decided to cut back off of one shift. And I worked at a great restaurant Olivia. Check them out. Nice. This is also Denver. But I was able to do that. And so I treated that shift off as a job, as if it was my job to paint. Not to make it just serious, but just to, because it is serious
you're sort of shifting that 8 to 10 hours from restaurant work to artwork.
Right. And to see if, would I do it? Will I commit to that? Will I show up? And I did. And so it was that next summer, I helped out an artist friend at an art show, just to get the background, like the experience, like what's entailed in this? How are some of these artists doing this for a living? So I helped her with that show. And while I was there, I came across this artist named Amado Pena Jr.
Okay.
And his art just lit me up. Like I was so enamored and interested in what I saw. And he was actually there. He had his assistant there, but he also was there and came up to speak to me about the work. Like I had questions and he engaged me in those questions and was passionate and inspired. And I felt like that connection I have with my art teacher, he felt like a teacher.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of my connection to my teacher from high school, Mindy Duncan. And and so by the end of the weekend though, we became basically friends. Oh, wow. And he was like, well, let's stay in touch. He saw my work on my phone, my iPad or whatever. And he's like, oh, okay. He saw something in it. And he's like, well, let's stay in touch. And if I come through Colorado to do shows and this or that, we can grab dinner, who knows. But then a couple months later, he called and he had an opening for an assisting position because his assistant was gone. And so,
Okay.
So for me, these were like auspicious timings. He had, long career as an artist and established and well established. And so I just kind of saw these things as I was showing up and I was putting the intention in, and that opportunity came that I'm like, maybe this is, and for me, it's the universe, for others, it might be God or it's just this, that it was auspicious, that it's giving me a nudge. Like,
it's all meant to be. Like this
you're
the right.
You're supposed to be doing this. Like I'm opening the opportunities or showing up as you're showing up. So then I did. I made that big change in 2022, moved from Denver down to Santa Fe, moved into a trailer on their property, and then started doing shows on the road, in the state, out of state. Wow. The art festivals and learning how to do art festivals mostly like that was the main thing. And then I worked in their gallery a little bit when we were in town.
Gotcha.
And just
how cool is that to go like just side by side with somebody who's been through it all, and that you don't have to like keep asking all these people, now what do I do? Now what do I do? You get to experience it.
Hands-on learning.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So
it's a wild art town. I mean, as you walk down, you're tripping over art.
Yes.
You're tripping over art. You're tripping over artists.
Everywhere.
You're also tripping over like rich people who are like, oh, I don't know, Buffy. I really think 5,000 is a bit cheaper than these. I want more $10,000. But like people do that. Like there's people that go to Santa Fe strictly to like, decorate their homes with their multiple homes with art. So it's a cool market to be in from an artist perspective.
Definitely. And a really inspiring place culturally as well. It's just, it's in the atmosphere of, they call it what is the nickname for the state? The land of enchantment. Normally that's like a
chili pepper state. The small cheese. Yeah, the spicy state. Spicy state.
It really has a quality of just the landscape and lighting, and there's just something there there's an added inspiration too for creating art there while you're there. But yeah, I love Santa Fe. I love I appreciate that it draws people from all over there. And then it's also the local community is really special too. So yeah.
I love living in Colorado, and I really enjoy some food in Colorado, but I just feel like the food in Santa Fe is incredible. Yeah. The flavor profile, the spice.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say this, in my phone there's a notes file because we go to Santa Fe every weekend for Labor Day.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
For that little long weekend. Yeah. And I have a notes file about places that we go back to eat because the food experience was so good. And then there's art galleries, since my wife's an artist too, that we were like, we got to go check out what's new there because it's never the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, there's some stores that are there that you can tell it feels very touristy. Mm-hmm. But then there's these art galleries where it's like, you never know which artist is going to be featured there. And that's kind of what makes it really just a very special place.
Yeah. It's a very dynamic place to experience. And yes, I do miss the breakfast burritos, even at the gas station.
That sounds amazing.
You can't even.
I bet.
It's a good food. When the gas station food is like a wiener roller.
Yeah. I think it's been there for 5
hours. Hot cuisine, but like it is like the food in Santa Fe and like the most basic place is just really excellent. Mm-hmm. Really great.
Blue corn pancake.
Even the farmer's market.
Oh, yeah.
The farmer's market is on another level. There's the one that does the blue corn donuts.
Mm.
Oh my
gosh.
That sounds phenomenal.
It's on my calendar every year for that weekend. I'll have to send you guys a picture when we go down there. I had them one time. I was like, what in the world?
We're going to all just go together.
Somebody tortilla was like, I can make that sweet and fry it. And they did, and it was a very good choice.
That's awesome.
Whoever came up with that, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much.
I love it.
So your story really had art in it kind of from the early age of 5 as you're figuring out your purpose. Yeah. Matt, yours didn't. There's obviously a love of art, nature, board sports. But I remember you telling me you had like a very sort of like wearing a suit to work job before you became an artist. I think that's a cool part of your story. That's like, I try to keep that secret.
It ruins my reputation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was in technology sales once. When I moved to Colorado, I moved up to the Vail Valley. So I lived there for 3 years, and I taught snowboarding. I did bartended, and I did the restaurant scene as well. And then in summertime, I was building houses.
Oh wow!
And then when I moved down to the Front Range, I got into technology sales. I actually have a degree in hospital administration. And after doing internships, I learned that I didn't have the patience to deal with insurance companies or doctors, for that matter.
Hospital administration, classic art major.
Yeah, completely.
That's usually the gateway.
That's usually the gateway. Yeah.
Right.
That like accounting.
The further from art, the more the gateway.
Exactly. There you go.
But no, I got into technology sales, and yes, I did wear suit and tie every day for about 15 years.
Yeah.
But I don't mind solving problems and going in and seeing a business for what it's worth and understanding and recognizing. And I kind of chalked it up as an art form itself, because you'd have to go in and have the conversations with people and understand where the frustrations lie within the organization, and then come back and put together a plan to solve those problems. And I was pretty successful at it, and I was asked to help build a couple of companies, and I went out on my own with a few other friends of mine and built a couple technology companies, and
wow.
But I was kind of on the short end of the sticks on the financial aspects of things, and I was a little frustrated with doing the majority of the work and not reaping the rewards. So
Sure.
I left that, and then I got into real estate, and I was flipping houses for quite some time. And again, I wasn't fronting the money, so I was doing the majority of the cold call and prospecting, and actually doing a lot of the work on the houses, and got a little frustrated with that. And then I had a partner at the time that encouraged me, saying, "Hey, you're really good at this art thing, and people really like your artwork." Because I took a long time to call myself a true artist.
Yeah.
And I was in galleries on Santa Fe Boulevard, and people were commissioning me to do art, and people would say, "Hey, Matt's an artist," and I was like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "You sell your art, you get commissioned, you're in art galleries, you start calling yourself an artist." So it took a while. I didn't want to feel like a poser saying that I was an artist, but I had some of that encouraged me and to get into it, and said, "I see how hard you work, and you love doing this. Go for it." And you know, I'm not going to give you a hard time about doing it, and so put all your effort into it. So I just switched gears and I dove into it head first, and I mean, it's not an easy life. I mean, it's extremely difficult, but I mean, I wouldn't want to do anything else. I mean, it's extremely satisfying. So
yeah, that's
but
awesome. I love that.
I'm up at 5 in the morning. And Abby comes out. She's like,
I tried 5 times a day, but I love it.
Yeah, I almost electrocute myself. I almost had to go to the ER 3 times. Wood falls on me.
You're literally putting your whole self into the art. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's sweating, blood, and tears, and everything, all the above that goes into it.
So this is like an action cam. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or like episodes from the epoxy room, like stuff that's happening. It's like, Matt, why are you covered in epoxy?
I feel like I could make a gambling channel just in my workshop alone. Like making Andy's. Is he going to come up and say here today? I put $500 down on that. How many times is he going to lose his square?
Next time he goes to the camera like this, he's like, "Oh, just kidding."
But I made $500 off the bet.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
I love it.
It's extremely motivating, and Colorado's a great place to find that, because we love walking out into nature, and I am that guy that we'll go on a hike, and next thing you know, I'll have logs strapped to my back.
I was just saying, scrap things.
Abby's like, hitting me with the stick, like, leave it.
And you're like, "Bring that stick."
I can't. I have to make it something.
That's the leg for the table. Perfect.
So
there's something you can do with anything. It's like, I could do something with that. I know you can.
That's what's interesting about your art, is that I think you do. You bring art. You make art from things that people just see as whatever.
Yeah.
And you see something in it, whether you see the finished product or a piece of it. And that's something that is so unique about the way that you do your art. I mean, your art's different, but it's also like you see images of things before they're on the canvas. And when I look at your art, I'm like, I know exactly what that is. That came from your brain, though. I mean, that was a picture maybe you saw in your mind of something in nature, but that's a creation of that. You know, we framed up the lens specifically to get a piece in here. It's absolutely stunning. And again, I can see all these colors. It's great.
Yeah.
And it really pops off the page.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you remember where you're sort of like, I don't know, I was going to say, your love of art kind of meshed with the desire or the decision that, hey, if I'm going to do this, I need to make this like my thing, my business. You had a great career path, Abby, because you talked about sort of like, art was the thing you did on the side. Well, my whole career is in restaurants, and restaurants are one of those things. If you're running a restaurant, it's different. But if you're working in a restaurant, it's like, oh, that's cute. What are you going to really do?
Right.
In Europe, restaurateurs, people that work in restaurants as servers, that's a career.
Right.
Their parents are like, we're really proud of him or her. In the States, we make it like it's some sort of bastardized profession.
Yeah.
You found a way to mesh two together, obviously to both live, but also to thrive in what you're doing. Where did you figure out, for each of you, that way that like business and art needed to become one, it needed to be your first time passion?
Well, so the business side of it is still something I'm sorting out. So I may have to re-involve myself in the restaurant industry, which I value, and not because I think it is a dead end, but for me, it is just the lifestyle of I'm not a nighttime person, for example. So it can be hard for me to picture my whole life working mostly evenings.
Yeah, sure.
So and for a time it was really sustainable, but I was starting to really evaluate the bigger picture and the quality, the lifestyle I really want. But in terms of the business side of you have to take art seriously if you want to do it full time. You have to take the business side of it seriously, which I'm learning to what my weaknesses are and what I can improve and strengths. Bookkeeping, for example, we talked about a little bit. You know, I learned certain things in my experience with a motto, but I realized I had questions I should have asked and I didn't. You know, had the business management, which I'd be keeping track of, yada yada yada. So there is some planning and strategy and all of that involved in it, the branding and marketing side of it. But the trade-off of doing that and all the discipline involved in that is, for me, in the creating of the art, which I'm finding is that I keep discovering and I keep growing and I keep learning more and that's sort of the motivation I think that keeps showing up and pushing me even when I'm really not in the mood, because I'm all about, you don't have to be an artist and do it for a living, but if you want to, and for me, if I want to, there is part of it that is very disciplined and I have to show up to it, and
makes sense.
And it's kind of like working out, you know. You got to have the muscle to sit there for 8 hours.
Right.
You know, you're like, oh, it's cool to paint all day, but like, you might not like painting all day though. If you could, you might not really like doing it.
Right.
Or whatever the medium be or form. So
for sure,
I don't know if that actually answers the question.
I think it does. It gives a bit of a flavor of what it's like to be, you know, because look, whether you like it or not, you're still a business owner.
Yeah.
But nobody that gets into doing something like art, or a lot of businesses get into it because, man, I can't wait to get into QuickBooks.
That's right.
Like, it's not the driving force behind me and how I run my business, but it becomes a reality of what it is. And I think some people don't think about the fact that they have to figure out all of these components.
Right.
Sometimes it's doing it themselves. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm going to outsource this.
Right.
I'm going to pay somebody to do that because that doesn't bring me joy.
Right. And it's sort of, if you're starting out any business where you haven't been planning to do it and like saving the principal up front to pay the people, you end up being that you have to be the Jack or the Jane of all the trades. Right. And that can be very, very, it can be a little discouraging at times, for sure. I'll tell you that.
When I started my business, you know, we saved up a year's worth of living expenses before we did that. I'm like, you are so practical.
Yeah.
I just came home and told my wife, I was like, I don't really like what I'm doing this anymore. I'm going to leave. She says, what do you know? I'm going to be a consultant. She's like, what are you going to consult on? I was like, I don't really know. That's not normally the game plan they give you in the book. Follow this.
That's so true.
Right.
Well, it's interesting because Matt and I were talking earlier in the garage before we started recording, and you were like, I'm out there all the time, you know, like, so half your time is probably not even creating art. It's like just getting exposure, staying in front of people and all of that.
Yeah.
It's the things we don't necessarily, and that can be fun, you know, but it's always a balance of like, we got to do the things we don't necessarily want to do for ourselves.
Yep. That's a part of it.
So that we can do the things we do want to do, you know, and enable it.
And I try to explain to other artists that are trying to make a living at it is that the time that you're the most successful is when you feel like you are the furthest thing from success, because that's when you're out there grinding and it's out there like, nobody likes my work, but you're out there doing it anyway. Or I'm not feeling the need to, I can't paint today. I don't feel creative at all today, but you're still doing it. And that's the most important. If you are going to be a success at this, you have to go out when you don't want to do it. Just like any true professional, if you want to be the best of the best, you have to do it. Rain, shine, snow. I mean, I'm out there when it's 20 below zero. Again, Abby's poking her head out there. Like, you all right? I come back in. I can't feel my hands. I was like,
Abby's like, I'm fine. This coffee is really warm. I'm good.
But I mean,
but it's true.
Going out you need to have, you can't do it all on your own. So you have to have the support of your friends, of people that have your work and that believe in you, because you all are my friends, and we have a group of 30 guys we meet with every 2 weeks, and they know my story, and they you know, there's people out there working for me. So you have to go and do the work and introduce yourself and spread the word that this is what I'm capable of doing. And if you don't believe me, just come on over. We can sit down and we can show it. So it's the effort. And I think what I believed in the most was just, I know that I might not be the best artist in the world, but I'll outwork majority of them.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Well, and there's so many, I mean, we're all business owners really at this point. And so you really have to find, like, dig deep when I don't feel like same thing. I am in real estate and I do make all the calls and all that kind of stuff.
You can sell a house
Plenty
in
of time.
days.
Yeah. Hours.
65 hours.
65 hours. 65 days doesn't sound very impressive. It's not. That's why it's 65 hours.
But really it's about like going back to like digging deep to why am I doing this, right? You know, and you just got to keep that in front of you. I think so many times of like, what am I, I think someone put it, I heard once, like, what's my wall? What am I not going back to? And then what is my why? What am I going to, you know, and just keeping that in perspective. Like I think back to my previous jobs and they were great. Again, same thing. It just wasn't life giving or fulfilling to me, you know? And so that's why I was like, I want to do something different. And I hear that from both of you, you know, and I think that's what's so interesting that I can really resonate with is, I'm going to go, I had like an older guy who was a coach for me for a while, like a life coach. You don't know anything. You know anything about coaching?
Not at all. Not at all.
You ever heard of it? No kidding.
More.
But this is very similar, like to what you do. And he was like, what has always just kind of leaked out of you, through your whole life? Like that you just can't help yourself.
I wonder what that smell was.
Compelled.
But like, what are the things that you just almost can't help yourself from doing? Like you go do it and then you're like, then you stop and then you just go back. You always just go back to it, you know? And that's what I hear from you guys, you know, is like, I was always like, I was doing interior design, but I still was painting. And like, I'm in the restaurant, but I'm still painting, you know, and same for you. And like, going back to what just draws me all the time. For me, it was, I loved real estate. I really did. I just got it. I feel like I had the knack for it, you know, and I was listening to real estate books in my car while I was driving to my other job and, you know, and just always learning about it. And then I always just loved to serve people. And I was like, I want to be able to kind of have it kind of be a way that I can just help people through big things in life. And I just love to serve. And so that was the other piece. And yeah. And it was, and I always loved business. We tried to start so many different businesses, you know, on the side. And then eventually, you know, I had to stop them, but I was like, okay, that's it. I'm not starting any more businesses. And I would go start another one, you know? And so it's one of those things I think I kind of hear and resonate from you guys too, is that it's your purpose, right? You're like living out your purpose now, even though it's hard, right? It's not always easy.
Still
But
defining
it's worth it. Yeah, 100%. And it's never going to be perfect, right?
Always constantly learning.
Now. There's faith in it.
Totally. Yeah. And that it can work. And
I think that's part of the learning process is understanding that perfection is not attainable. Clients that I coach all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have a few clients, one in particular, she constantly would get her head stuck in the sort of the perfection has to be perfect. She'd say, hey, I want to send you something that you can take a look for me. I was like, sure, happy to do that. And then, you know, a few weeks go by and I was like, you haven't sent that over. She's like, well, I've almost got it right. And I was like, what are we doing right now? And she's like, I'm making it perfect. I was like, what's going to happen if you send it to me and it's at like 90%? She's like, what if it's at 50%? I said, but it's not going to be.
Yeah, what if
you're not the kind of person who would ever. I said, just send it out. And so we'd go through that. And all of a sudden, she just got to this mindset that was like, if I reach perfection, I probably should ratchet the bar up a little bit because I'm probably selling myself short. But it's constantly looking to improve and learn and grow.
Totally. Actually, that's a great, I'm really curious because that's a good point because I think we've come up with these things in our head like, what does 50% even mean, right? What does 90% even mean? You know, at that point, how do you guys, when you're creating your art, like, how do you decide, okay, I'm done, you know? Because I got to imagine there's always one more thing you could do to it.
One more brush.
Yeah. I can answer this for me.
Yeah. I can answer it for me.
No, you should bring it.
I bring it to Abby. I bring it to Abby and I put it up and I go, am I done? She's like, what's that? I'm like, not dead yet.
Okay. So I might lean toward more of the perfection side of things, but I also find a lot of satisfaction in the finishing of. So I can procrastinate on things more that are very not my strengths, but something that I might not enjoy as much, but I can do if it's going to get me to finish the thing and like put a frame on,
Gotcha.
And that to me is like the punctuation.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, it is complete. So like, and there's no like, I should go, like, I don't know. If I have this feeling like about looking at a piece though, in general, that says, I don't absolutely love this. Like I don't, there's something off. And I might not know like obviously what it is, but I want it to be done. I have to catch myself and saying, that's going to show up in some other way. And it's going to, there's an insecurity there. And so your authenticity, your integrity is in not denying that and just keeping going. And for me, it's interesting. I have like a hyper focus. So I have a hard time setting something down and stepping away and then coming back to it later. So it's
like one step and you're like, I just want to
will just keep going and going until I figured it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works better, I think, to step away and then come back and see it with a fresh perspective. But ultimately it is a sense that,
I love that.
This feels like I'm not feeling any disconnect or any yearning for something more from it. A feeling I'm not getting, but I wanted to come through it.
Right.
Most people are afraid of using their gut.
Yeah.
Totally.
They need some sort of data input to tell them that it's ready. But like, yours is different. You're like, hey, Abby, is this done? Almost like to that effect. But I think it's nice to have, no, back to the epoxy.
Yeah.
I like it.
But I think it's important.
You thought that was done?
So many people don't trust their own gut.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that. I feel like there was more gut years ago, and that now, as maybe it's because the outside influence of technology.
Well, everything tells us that we need to be doing more, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you got to go, keep going, and don't stop.
In art, there's another perspective. Look at it as well as people are scared to get started. They don't know where to start. And a lot of times you can just paralysis by analysis where you're like, okay, this is what we're going to do, but how do I start it? So, I mean, I definitely live in the world of sometimes you got to break it first in order to get started. Just kick the table over and be like, oh, look at that.
Like the poor bowl at the gala.
It's like,
and then put it back together.
Yeah, exactly.
New piece of art.
That's why I love using electricity, chainsaws, fire,
Just get after it.
Just get after it and then be like, oh, man, I screwed that up. All right, this is the opportunity to make something unusual.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Now, Abby, you mentioned that you learned a lot when you were working with Amado Pena Jr. in Santa Fe. Is it fair to say that he was kind of an inspiration of yours in some of the art world?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually wasn't familiar with him until I met him, but then getting to realize actually that he had a long-standing career and a whole massive, many years body of work for me to learn about, and then he became very influential, and also just a lot of our discussions that we had throughout the time that we were together, stories that he shared. Very impactful, very inspiring. He was also a teacher. He did have a teacher spirit.
That's cool.
But he was a teacher, and
it's amazing people that are asked to teach and they say yes, but they don't really have a teacher's heart. Then there's people that just can't help it.
Yeah,
it just naturally happens.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? From an inspiration perspective, is there artists or an artist in particular that kind of has inspired you, whether that's what your work mirrors or just inspired you to kind of take that leap?
In all honesty, I would say Mother Nature was my number one inspiration. Going out and being in,
I can see that in everything you
being in the environment and seeing, like going to Lake Powell the first time, I think I cried, just seeing how all the walls were sculpted, or going into the Grand Canyon, or just going onto the woods itself and just seeing how wood deteriorates. It all deteriorates and releases energy, but when you burn it, the reason why it burns is releasing energy. So I think, and being a surfer too, I mean, going out to the ocean and seeing waves break, perfect waves, seeing non-perfect waves, being out in the ocean, floating around in it, being in the mountains, snowboarding, and just being in the middle of the trees somewhere, like the back bowls of Vale or something of that nature, or in the backcountry itself.
It's almost like the chaos and the patterns of nature.
Yeah, I mean, the windy ridge.
Looking at just looking at the art while you're talking, it's just interesting to see how what you're describing literally shows up in everything.
Yeah,
isn't it fun to see why I wanted to do the recording?
Yeah, totally.
I was like, is this, and the room looked a little different when it was here because you had like almost a dining room table. Yeah. We came in and saw this sort of like great little sort of area just to have a conversation in, and then the art. And it's really funny because as we were setting up. Right, Matt's like hanging up art on the walls, and then Matt goes, "Hey, are we going to see that wall?" And we're like, "Probably not." And Abby's like, "It looks really nice there, though." So it's like, "That's good." And it does. It looks really great. The camera can't see it. We'll get a picture later, but it does. It's like you're living in a gallery, and that's why I wanted to kind of get that captivated in the episode.
I think it's really cool,
and just utilizing the resources around. I mean, Abby and I try to do our best to be environmentally friendly and recycle as much as we can, and I. To a fault at times, and I get reminded, that I see things and like the garden hoses that they can use them recycling garden hoses to make chairs.
Yeah, totally.
And that could be cool, but you can also have a bunch of junk at your house at the same time where you're like, oh God, I have so many.
What does it turn into? Hoarding is supposed to be.
Fine line there,
right. So
I love it.
You'll see, you know, it's cool when you have wood slabs around, but it's not cool when what you think is something you can use as an art project is most people consider trash.
Totally.
So
100%. Yeah.
You have to,
awesome.
It's a fine line. So you have to, call it sometimes and be like, all right, you got to get rid of this stuff.
Right.
And recycle.
I entered an art competition one time when she was in design school, and she and her partner in this, they had to make a chair out of all recycled materials. And they tried to make it out of seatbelts. And like I saw like the plan for it, I'm like, this is super cool. And I believe, and she's gonna hate me for saying, I believe it was a complete failure. Like they put it together and they like set it down and like, okay, so we're gonna do a different weight test. And like they put a pencil on it and the chair collapsed. And they're like, well, you're not gonna make it into round 2, unfortunately, because people will die if they sit in the chair. But it was so cool to watch her and her partner's brain kind of think about, and I was like, seatbelts, why? And she goes, I don't know. She's like, I just got to figure that after they have their life in a car, there's like the safety rating on them. She's like, they must have a second life. And she saw this vision of being able to kind of create a chair out of seatbelts.
And I'm sure it's still possible to create one that is functional. It's just that was like the first.
If she was designing it at home,
and then you get to revise it.
The idea was they had to actually they had to show up on site with all the materials and build it on site.
Yeah.
And I was like, you should build a couple of drafts. That's like, yeah, we're fine. And sure enough, it didn't work. But I said, man, that would be a really cool project. And she had a chair in mind, but being able to like having an hour to build it on site, that's a pretty tall order.
Yeah.
But it was just fun to watch her brain work that way.
Yeah. I love that. Yep.
Okay, so our podcast is obviously all about Castle Rock, and the people of Castle Rock, even more importantly. So
it's way more interesting than the people
but one thing we always love to hear is like, how has the Castle Rock town like really made an impact on you guys in your life? You know, not just business, but personally. I mean, in any way.
Well, Matt's been established here for quite a long time, 20 years-ish. So I walked into
2005, yep.
Okay, so
okay, yeah.
I came into town not that long ago, but through him have already met tons of wonderful people.
Sure.
So, you know, he's so charming and extroverted. It's just like, he's really, he's
very well connected.
Yeah,
sure.
and well connected. Yeah. So,
carrying a slab of wood down Main Street. Oh, hey, I thought that was in a dumpster. Matt's going to make something really beautiful out of it.
So I became like aware of like the Business Over Beverages events that through Castle Rock Artist Alliance, which previously was Crack, known as Crack. Way more fun.
Such a fun
name. Yeah.
Come to the Crack House.
This was the original Crack House.
We're crack addicts.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like, oh gosh.
Okay. We're totally up.
My train of thought. Okay.
You know, up.
You know, I think I saw Up now.
You cried for the first 20 minutes.
I was gonna say.
In Up, there's a dog, and the dog has this thing. Squirrel. That's.
Oh, I do know that reference. Though. Yeah, I do know that reference. Okay. So no, and I totally get that, and that's that's it. I was just gonna, okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, okay. Castle Rock Artist Alliance. They have part of the organization is involved in creating exhibition opportunities for local artists, and so that's been one of my favorite things. Is and then through that meeting some of the businesses like Kim, the owner of Union Bistro. You've got Coffee 33, Nate and
Heather.
Yep, Nate and Heather. There's the Castle Rocks and Jewelry. There, I don't want to know. If I don't say
Saints and Sinners.
Saints and Sinners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The Bacons, Michelle.
And there's a new one now. It's a realtor brokerage firm called Angle and Blippers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Something about that.
Super great. So they've got some opportunities in there now. So yeah, that's really special to be able to be supported and in the community, but also for art and having opportunity to exhibit and it be a low risk in terms of your investment or any of that because they're just offering a space for you to add beauty to the space, but they're not taking giant commissions or charging you, to show. That's what, we do with these festivals and things or galleries. You do that. So just to have that is actually really huge. So super grateful for the support in the community for showing us artists at these various places.
Showing them some love. Yeah. Well, especially not trying to bring anybody from the outside, like really keeping it local. I think
hey, it's Castle Rock. Because bring in artists from Santa Fe, and you're like, oh, we've got artists right here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's really cool because, like, I mean, and I've seen it, and I've seen your art before I knew you, you know, and I think that's really cool too. And even like we were at the rock climbing gym, you know, and we saw your wife's, you know, she got some of her glass art there too. It's just neat to be like, oh, I know, like, I have a better connection with everything, you know, and everyone in the businesses because I see the art and I know the people, and it, you know, just makes it more special.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it was one of my goals living in this town is to help bring more culture to Castle Rock, bring a larger art scene to more of a community of artists, and to bring people to it, because I believe there's a tremendous amount of fantastic art in this town and extremely talented artists, and people should be aware of that. And all of our local businesses, they want to support art. And that's cool. Jonathan Douglas over at All Around Auto Care, you know, he commissioned me to do a 9-foot high by 30-foot long wall mural that I hand carved out of the whole front range and put illumination. So if you've never seen that, take a look at that. But you know, you have gentlemen like John Menka in town that he's been one of my oldest friends in this town. When I first moved here, I wasn't involved with the Art Guild of Castle Rock, and then it disappeared, and I was disappointed. And I knew a gentleman by the name of Nick Lucy and John Paul Price, and I started bringing it up. I was like, what's going on? Why don't we have something like this where artists can get together? And so I started talking to more and more of the local artists. And Lisa Huffman's a really good friend of mine, one of my best girlfriends. And I brought her in with, God, I mean, I can just keep rattling names off. But I mean, we just have so many great artists, and we all come together, and you know, we have become friends, and then we drawing in more friends. You know, I have a buddy, Clayton Porter. He's been a huge supporter of mine. He has all of his artwork or my artwork in his office, and then he introduced me to Nate Orman, who owns Coffee 33, but he also does a lot of other businesses around town. That they see my work on that scale, and they come to me and like, I got an idea. I want you to build it. And I'm like, I'm in.
I love it.
So, I mean, it's cool. I mean, and now you all are doing this to bring more attention to more artists, and they're very interesting people too. So, I mean, it's an exciting time in Castle Rock. I believe that it's going to just keep on improving.
I think it's a piece of Castle Rock that isn't well known or recognized, you know.
It's also not fully formed yet, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, true. That's right.
But you have a community like Mark and Casey Keel that own the bike shop in town.
Oh yeah.
They I mean, he's the coach of the Douglas County mountain bike team. It's huge. I mean, and they have a very art-minded approach to their business, and they bring, so I mean, it's like bringing everyone together to make this a cool spot to visit and to come to for the artwork and for all the different restaurants that we have in town.
That's one of our hopes for this podcast specifically too, is people who aren't in the community and don't live here, you know, or might be visiting, that they can have a deeper connection when they do come here. And, oh yeah, I saw that. I know that guy. I know that lady. I know exactly where this stuff's coming from, and they can appreciate, you know, everything as they visit.
People always ask us to, like, you know, in the beginning, the question Brian and I got were like, oh, you guys are going to start a podcast to make money. And we're like, no. And they're like, what's the topic of your podcast? And we're like, it's from Castle Rock, about Castle Rock, for Castle Rock. And they're like, oh. And then we'll have people say, like, you guys are doing a podcast about Castle Rock. We're like, yeah. And they're like, there's a podcast about Castle Rock? We're like, this is it, baby. Like, right here. It's a brainchild that we have.
Right. Yeah.
I laughed when you mentioned Mark from the bike and ski shop, because I went in there to buy a new set of ski boots. And ski boots are one of those things I do feel like is a little bit indulgent. And I was in a pair of ski boots, and I had a guy take a look at them, and he goes, I'm super impressed with how long you've made these last. He's like, these are literally disintegrating from the inside out. And I was like, I think I need to buy a new pair of ski boots. So I'm going to get new ski boots. And a young lady in there ended up helping me, and it was just a great experience. I'd been there a few times to buy little knickknacks and had my bike tuned up. And so I ran into Mark in the Safeway. And I said, hey, I said, do you own the ski and bike shop? He's like, yeah. And I said, I just have to let you know. And I talked about this young lady that had helped me and this, that, and the other thing. And he goes, and I just said, it was such a great experience. And I said, you have a whole slew of different prices that I could have spent, but told her kind of what the budget was. And I said, she like was right in the wheelhouse. It was a great experience. He goes, cool. He goes, so you're telling me I don't have to fire my daughter? And I was like, yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. He goes, good. I'll take that one off the list.
Yeah.
It's so great to have, like, I always tell people I love that I run into friends at Cough 33, Lost Coffee, Safeway, King Soopers, just around town. I see people's cars. Right? I think that's what makes this community special. I didn't have that in Centennial, let alone Denver.
Well, and I mean, there's so many people to recognize. I mean, Ty Sulfur that has the adventure park. You know, he's been a huge collector and supporter of mine, and he brings the community together. And he you know, he does the whitewater rafting trip down in his place, down in Canyon City.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's awesome. Not only are they good people, but they're cool. They're fun to hang out with. They have stories to be told, and that they're just trying to bring entertainment to. You know, there's so many more people to. Sorry if I didn't give you a shout out, but thank you for everybody. You know, the dads at Castle. Justin Conkey. I got some stuff in here that you want.
Everybody but him. Yeah, I want to thank everybody but Justin.
And I try to keep him from talking too long.
One of our birds.
One episode that we did, it was the one where we were with Dave Fournay, and we didn't end up getting the video, but on the raw video footage we looked at, all you see is Justin's butt walking up the stairs. And I was like, that should be the feature. That should be the feature of the podcast. Justin's butt's at least famous.
Viewership would go way down.
It really would. It wasn't that impressive.
It would drop from 10 to like 5
now
people.
They've talked about my butt on their episode. May have to edit that out. We talked about board sports, snowboarding, skiing. What are your favorite things to do? Right, we're about to go into summer. This is going to air in June. So, what do you like doing in Castle Rock around the state in the summertime?
Okay, well, you go first.
Well, in the summertime, I would say not so much as of recently, but I like to get back into it. Mountain biking. I used to be really big into that. I used to be really big in white
trails around here for that.
Yeah, I used to be really big in whitewater kayaking, but I kind of got out of that once I had kids and almost got killed a couple times. So like,
not a bad idea. Yeah.
But I mean, we love getting into the outdoors and just wandering around in the woods. We have some friends that live up in Alma that we love visiting. There's a place called Windy Ridge. It's like a natural history museum. It's all bristlecone pines. It's one of the coolest places if you ever want to go on a day trip and go up there. Just go up to the Windy Ridge, and it's just astounding. The trees are 2,000 years old. My little group, Scatru, out there is a bristlecone.
Oh, that's
pine branch. So that thing's probably 900 years old.
And if you blink, you miss Alma.
Yeah,
it's just like that.
Yeah.
Yes. But the typicals, just getting out and camping, being out in nature, but we, we're professional artists, so we do the circus during the summertime, where we have to do every weekend. We're typically in another town, but it's usually up in the mountains, so that's cool. We're on the move a lot, so it's a busy time. So when we're not here building and creating, we're usually on the road at shows, and then we try to make the most of the environment that we're in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I second all that. Just basically, if it's too hot, I mean, I got to be in the water. So finding a river, lakes, anything like that nearby. Nice. And then getting up to the mountains always cools you down a bit. So yeah, getting out and hiking, breathing the fresh air, putting your bare feet on the ground and hugging some trees,
Yep.
That's, I honestly, I love gardening and doing that sort of thing. It's been a little bit off I haven't been able to keep up with that the last couple of years, just as I organize my life and figure out the business stuff. Yeah, because you got to keep up with it. You got to come home for those emergency hailstorms that happen seriously sometimes every day.
Yep.
So I'm just, but getting back into that will be nice eventually here. That's summer. Yeah, traveling whenever is possible. I love to get to the ocean here and there.
Yep.
Camping, just getting into the elements. I think that's like one of my favorite things to do. And then eating well. just getting in some, cooking over either, whether it's camping and just really prepping some really good meals. That's super satisfying. Getting some time under the stars to just, take it all in and then bring that back into,
I love it.
It's amazing how camping feels less rugged if you eat well.
Yeah. And sometimes you eat better when you're camping.
Pepper with all the season.
That's a really good point.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
My wife's like, why don't we eat this at home? And I'm like,
Right.
why don't we make camping special? Because she likes the common ground.
Yeah.
I was like, if I could eat really well,
Yeah.
But I think Castle Rock does a good job too with the music scene. As far as being able to get out, the little amphitheater in town's fun, and that festival park's a good time. And then everybody loves going to Red Rocks, and it's
I like the traffic at Red Rocks, though. It gets a little ridiculous.
I don't like the ticket prices at Red Rocks. You can't even go to a show there anymore without being like $150 a ticket or something like that. It's like, what?
Hopefully Red Rocks will start following the podcast. Take our consideration. Not free tickets, just lower your prices.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Last
time I was out there, we went to go see the comedian Brett Goldstein. He played Roy Kent on the Ted Lasso series.
Yeah.
And he was hilarious. But I asked my wife, I was like, how much are tickets?
Was that worth it?
And the only way that it was like affordable is if you bought them in a 4-pack. So it was encouraging people to go with friends. Yeah. So we bought a 4-pack of tickets. Actually went with our friends at the Carriers, Vance and Sarah. And I think that made the ticket price for a comedian. I think it was $120 a couple.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, but still, like outside. But it is fascinating to watch how expensive stuff is out there.
Yeah,
for sure. Festival Park, I love the price of it. I think the first concert, I have it on my calendar because I'm out of town. I think it's the 21st of May is the kickoff concert for the season out there at Festival Park. And I told my wife, I was like, whenever I'm in town, let's just make that a priority. Call friends, be like, hey, we're going. Hope to see you there.
Yeah. Just if you don't like the music or the particular.
It's just but that's what this town's turning into now. Yeah. We go out and now our friend group. It sounds so silly. It's like I'm a teenager.
Click.
Yeah, our clique, our posse,
People in my group me.
Yeah.
Let's group me.
Yeah. But it's fun going out in town because it's so many people, and it's
that's awesome.
It's a hard place to feel lonely.
Right.
And a lot of small towns can have a really dreary, Friday, Saturday kind of weekend evenings. Castle Rock, if you drive down there 9:30, 10 o'clock, there's people out on the street walking around. Yeah. Ice cream shops and people going to bars and restaurants. And it just feels like a place you want to lean into. Not to mention when you get to the holidays, the way the town's all sort of dolled up for the holidays, it's just a really fun place to hang out. Very, very special.
For sure.
Very, very special.
All right. You ready for speed round?
Okay. So we had a plan for this that we didn't quite bring to fruition, but I've got a solution for it.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, that's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So we're going to do a speed round.
We just write it on their hands. We're going to have paddles for you to hold
up. My hands are sweaty.
All right.
My hands are sweaty right now. So
she's not nervous. It's from the art. So we're going to ask you a series of questions, and as we do, the idea is they're like his and her questions. So we'll ask you a question about the two of you as people, but as a couple. And if you think the answer is you, you'll point to yourself. If you think the answer is the other person, you'll point to the other person. It'll just be kind of fun to see the way.
Can you guys go back to back and then you can point behind you?
Because
we don't want that cheating. Asking you, if he doesn't know the answer.
I think that's a good idea. Let's do it. It's
so interesting, right?
All right.
Couples always do this. Abby turned her body. Matt turned his chair. Jen and I would have done the exact same thing.
100%.
That's how you know this
is like, I'll be more comfortable.
All right. So
hopefully we're still in the shot.
On questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So the first question is,
am I supposed to point?
You can either point at yourself, Matt, or you'll point over your shoulder at the other.
Do this
exactly.
Or this.
Exactly. The first question is, who's the better driver? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Are we going to tell them or just let them fight about it later?
You have to watch the episode.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Who's more responsible?
Okay, there you go. Nice.
Love it.
Who sold a piece of art most recently?
I think him. Oh, sorry.
That guy. You don't know Matt?
Yeah.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't on here, but I'm going to ask you.
Go ahead.
Who makes a bigger mess when they're making their art?
I've been to their house. I can answer that question for you. Yeah.
That's not fair.
Every time I've hung out with Matt, I'm always like, he looks like ruggedly dirty. Like he just created something really beautiful. Maybe the epoxy room. We're not sure. Who stays up later?
Nice.
Okay. You kind of indicated that in the conversation that we had.
Okay. Who's had the most expensive commission? Nice.
Oh, that wasn't it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah. Who is more helpful with the other person's art?
Like in creating the art itself?
However you view it. Creating the art, providing feedback, but let's say creating. Sure, put it in a box. Say creating. Matt, you got to vote.
Nice.
There you go.
All right. Okay. Who's responsible for dinner this evening?
Probably him. Sorry, I can't keep my mouth shut.
He was immediate to himself.
I love it. Okay, you guys can turn back around.
All right. That was awesome.
You can turn back. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I actually think it was more fun than having the signs.
I do too.
Yeah, because you couldn't see each other, but it was great.
Yeah.
The fact that you kept shouting out the answers made my heart so happy.
As far as answering the question of who helps each other more with each other's art, I think we respect each other's opinion a tremendous amount, and
cool.
But she does oftentimes offer her services when I don't ask for them.
I do that for general.
True.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's great, but I did not even ask for that.
Yeah.
And you can leave now.
Wouldn't be a proper relationship if
I
you
was going to buy this. This is what I have to say.
I would pay more if you did this to it.
Help him with protecting his art in transport.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is some
whole China shop
thing for both of us is to
it'll be fine.
we'll show you, but to keep it safe and keep the value of it and not have to put more work back into fixing anything that can, then there's so many freaking variables and he has an open back truck, so weather, wind, and then just dinging, little things. But so you got to cushion and tie things down. And I'm very methodical, but that's
you got to have those two different types of brains. How they look at that.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know my wife.
Yeah, we both have.
Yeah. And Jen shipped a piece of art to a friend she's had for many years in Houston, and it showed up, and she insured it, and it showed up, and there's a piece of glass that had broken. And he was like, "Oh, it's no big deal." And she kept saying to me, she's like, "But it is." She's like, "To her, it was."
Yeah.
So another friend ordered some. We're actually going to Iowa in a couple of weeks. And her best friend growing up ordered a piece of art from her. And she was like, I refuse to ship it. She's like, I'm going to go hand deliver it. And I said, it's Johanna, damn straight. So she's going to drive it there and deliver it to her friend in Iowa because she doesn't want it to get destroyed in transit. It's kind of like a little bit like the person with the bowl that broke it that day. Like that artist, was like,
what it was supposed to be is no longer
correct.
There anymore.
It hasn't changed in a creative way. It's just like, oh man, it kind of got ruined.
Yeah.
So whatever you can do to help him protect that art. And it's some sizable pieces of art.
Definitely. And all different
I'm definitely rumbly, stumbly, mumbly, man.
He has like wild shapes and sizes, and I have more, modular items, so I can do that more easily. And his takes, and I enjoy it in a lot of ways. It's just like let's really think about this and put in the time up front. I had to train myself to be like this, though. This is not my actual nature.
She's trying to train me, and I don't train her.
But now I'm like, you should value this too. And he's like, I do after the fact. But when you're presenting it initially, I'm like, well,
Abby goes outside and Matt kind of like takes on. He's like, cool. He's like, I was just gonna go play volleyball at the park. I wasn't actually packing up any. I said, oh, okay.
Sure.
Good talk. Good talk.
Well,
this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
It's been great having you on the show. We always tell people we love hearing about Castle Rock businesses, but there's people behind business, and there's no one more important behind art than the artists that are making it. And when we first talked about the idea of doing this, and I remember approaching Matt about it, and Matt was like, we do like a little tag team thing and have Abby and I both on the episode. I just thought it was such a great sort of testament to the relationship, the respect that the two of you have. I've heard both of you talk so passionately about kind of your love of promoting Castle Rock and the arts in this community. And it's so great to bring a little bit more of that message to all 7 people that subscribe to this podcast.
That's right.
Make it 8. Again, those
or 10 by the end of this.
could be 10.
That's right.
I'll get my mom to follow.
Doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's a really great thing. And I think it's just like anything, your consistency and showing up we're setting up your cameras today. You learn as you do it, improve, and have fun. And that, I mean, I can tell you guys have fun.
We really enjoy it.
That's
it is a ton of fun.
That means
We don't like each other very much, but it's a fun process.
Yeah, that's the only part we cannot get past.
We're like a young married couple.
Yes. We have counseling later, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Do you want to bring us home?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you both so much. You're officially, I like to say this because it's cheesy, but I think it's fun. You're officially in Castle Rock Insiders. So now that you've been on the podcast, but anybody subscribed can also be a Castle Rock Insider. So thank you guys so much. Great conversation. Really good to get to know both of you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Thank you for including me in your invitation.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, exactly. We opened it up. Thanks for being a good co-host. Appreciate you too.
You too. Really glad we went with the 4 mic package, by the way. We bought these.
Yes.
Way smarter.
Yes.
Go with us.
You know, it's like we knew what we're doing. All right. Thank you all
See
so
you guys
much.
next time.
See you at the next episode.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
That brings us to the end of another episode and a great conversation.
We hope you enjoyed getting to learn more about our community and the people of our town.
If you want to become a Castle Rock insider, all you have to do is like that video that you just watched and go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We're also on all the social media channels. You can find us there or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time inside Castle Rock.